only one good day. A day free of endless commerce. A day without your pressured thumb. The chance to fix my broken hedgerow. A dawn to dusk to recoup. Just one fine blossom of what I was. The flower of that one fine thought.
It's a folk thing. It's a word of mouth thing. It's the search for values more pleasing than the price of oil.
And with my helpers, my friends, and in the spirit of Cecil Sharp, who travelled the country gathering songs, I've put this together.
This is Broadstairs Folk Week. Welcome. Yeah, and it's a festival that's grown over several years, over 44 years. So we've had a chance to actually develop to our strengths, really. So the inner core of the main folky audience is still there and very much flourishing, really.
We've been coming here 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's our
31st year of it.
Folk Week. Started off just sort of going to ordinary concerts, and then it develops and you start singing yourself, you start playing yourself.
Yeah.
Generally getting into the general folklore of it, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but the folklore is interesting.
Yeah.
Have you been here all week?
I've been very weak. Yeah. We've been here all week. We also work for the workforce for Broadstairs Folk Week, so we all do lots of other things. We did the show on Saturday. We've just done a bit of busking to raise some funds for Broadstairs Folk Week, and then we've just done a show down at the bandstand to raise more funds for Folk Week, because it's all done voluntarily, and that's what we're all about. And we're now about to get some beer.
Oh yeah. How long have you been doing this then?
Not many years, about 6 or 7 years.
Oh really? You know your moves, don't you?
Oh yes, I know all the dances.
Do you mind that they're going over there?
I do, yes. It's like going for a drink. Yes, the Wanson Morris men. The reason for the cross is the cross of St Augustine at one end of the Wanson Channel, and the towers are the Recolver Towers at the other end of the channel. And the Wanson Channel used to separate the Isle of Thanet from the mainland, which is now all silted up and it's just off the river.
Okay, the instrument that I was playing is the Wheatstone Aola. It was built in 1913 and then taken to the Great War. And it was played, we think, with the Hanson Bucks regiment in Ypres, the 2nd Ypres. And every year we do a musical tour with my group, the She Lady Band, and we go and we play this in the cemetery. And this was played this year in Essex Farm. And we play a lament or something like that on the basis that the people who are now lying in the cemetery may well have heard it when they was alive.
There are people here who are just here to dance, to enjoy the dances. There are very serious dancers who know actually what they're doing, and they dance up at our campsite and they don't do anything else. And you'll ask someone else and they'll say, I just listen to the music in the pubs. and you'll say somebody else entirely, and they're just here to see all the major concerts in the concert marquee. So there are a lot of different types of festival all going on all at once, really.
Our name is collectively Wolfshead and Vixen Morris, and we are Border Morris dancers, which means that the dances, in a historical sense, come from the border between England and Wales. The black faces don't represent anything to us other than shadowy things. In the past, it was a disguise, because going out and performing on the streets was often against local bylaws, and there are historical records that go back to the Civil War about Morris dancers having run-ins with the local authorities. So people used to black up or wear strange costumes so that they didn't get recognised by their employers. They're very likely to be local landowners and recognise them in the street.
This is actually called Northwest Clog dancing. It comes from the mill towns in Lancashire, where the girls would have gone out and sort of danced in the streets on a Sunday for enjoyment and to collect extra money. That's where the origins are from.
It's our heritage, it's English.
That's right.
English, yeah, it's our heritage. And I think it's up to us to keep it going. We've got many things in England that we can say is definitely ours.
It means a lot to us. It means a lot to us.
It means a lot to us. I think it means a lot to English people. It's very, very old. These bobbins are actual authentic bobbins that came from the cotton mills of where the dancing originated. So we're keeping very much the tradition of it all, which I think is good.
I'm just involved with Morris. I'm relatively new to it. I started dancing out May this year. Out with a good bunch of lads. Good dancing, good singing, keeping a tradition alive. Damn good exercise. Very sociable. It's good fun. Yeah, if you're going to ask me deep and meaningful questions about its origins, I have to say, as most Morrismen will say, it's lost in the mists of history.
So what do we have? We have the head of the violin, and there is the spiral, which we also have in our head, where you see the hair going into a spiral. We have the neck, we have the body, we have a belly, we have a back, we have a waist, we have shoulders, we have hips, we have, well, that's quite enough. So you have the human being, and the 4 vocal cords, you play it right next to the human vocal cords, so it's the first extension of the human singing voice, if you play it properly, I suppose. The folk means the people's soul, and the colour, the cultural colour of a people is quite a tangible thing. Through dance, through their costume, through their music, through their food, through the houses they live in, through the nature that surrounds them.
It has a timeless quality. It's how our past was handed on from generation to generation. It's how our beliefs and social customs were carried on from generation to generation.
And it's quite curious to look at where it is now, because in the past it was easier to see what that soul might be, and all we have left now are either photographs of events or costumes in museums like this came out of, where you see the feeling that was inside made external through colour, through the materials, and through all the folk skills and crafts and cultures that have been shared. So how they pass down is, of course, diminishing every moment.
I still believe that it's part of our lives, and I personally was working in ex-Soviet countries, in Ukraine and Poland and Kazakhstan, all sorts of places, where I was absolutely over the moon to find that the people I was working with still had song as part of their own lives. There's still some of that here, but it is dying out, and it tends to be a hobby here, whereas there it's still part of the way they live.
The ancestral legacy has become a dominant cliché in the folk tradition and stands like an unmoving pillar, dour in its outlook, uninterested in popular culture, and melancholy in its retelling of events. Not the view of a child, you understand, but rather the world-weary elder. Heavy with disapproval and high on hindsight, the ancestors whisper amongst themselves. They exert their considerable influence on sleepy lords and proud judges, and they unwittingly condemn us to the same painful course as they suffered. We're left in no doubt as to the controlling criteria of life past and life future. Life is hard, life is suffering.
You sit on your mother and father, just as they sat on theirs. That's why you behave the way you behave. That's why you like eating what you eat. It's why you age the way you age. You are the pinnacle of our endeavours, for you are the blessed and immortal child, charged with bringing the happiness that was never wholly ours.
But the canny ones, those that realise that ultimate truth is confined to the heavens, and that what we suffer on earth is usually more resembling of compromise, well, their legacy can also be found in the old tunes and the old songs, in the secret winks of cathedral gargoyles, and in the humour that comes from acknowledging the ridiculous nature of the human dilemma.
You could call folk music all non-classical music. You know, you've got classical music with its hierarchy, you know, with the composer, then the conductor, then the, you know, right the way down to the sort of third trombone or whatever it is, you know. Then you've got the music industry where, you know, basically businessmen are generating product and pumping it, you know, it's aimed at 9-year-olds, and that's kind of, you know, it's about making money. And it's sort of folk music, sort of almost everything else. What I love about the music is that, to me, it feels very much about flesh and blood. It is about individuals. Or, you know, I think of folk music as a sort of an incredible repository, a freely given gift of our ancestors. You know, they dreamt this stuff up to kind of try and unriddle their universe. They were just like we are. They were sitting around thinking, what's it all about? Why are we here? You know, just the same issues that we wrestle with. And part of how they tried to explain that to themselves was, I think, through song and music and rituals and customs, you know, the seasonal calendar and all the rest of it.
Sunday morning, me and my son walk in the park, found a young man hanging from a tree, his hands by his sides, morning sun in his eyes. Told my little boy he was asleep. While 100 yards away, young children play. Parents twitter around the children's apparatus with prospectus in their hands for the little darlings' education in the precious years to come.
So I just loved singing, and I wasn't really aware of any great folk tradition until I was really in my late teens, early 20s, and that was when I was heading off to be a student, and I kind of discovered the whole pub session thing, and then just got into this little secret world of kind of people actually playing music, and some of them were good and some of them were rubbish, but nobody cared. I mean, I was a student and I was studying politics and philosophy, and then all the work that I did subsequently was all on the kind of social care, social issues. It was all kind of campaigning, change the world kind of work. And that's kind of like what motivates me, is I've always been drawn to that kind of slightly darker seam of life. So when I found all this old material, hundreds of years old, that was essentially talking about all the same stuff, to me it just blew my mind. It gave me this whole sense of connection with like generations and generations of people that had gone before, that had experienced the same things. You know, musically, some of it is very much steeped in kind of traditional style, and others isn't. Some of it's borrowing from pop and indie and other stuff that I listen to.
You're a beautiful trace of time and space. You're a thing that once shone, and you still shine bright in the darkest night, though you're already gone.
I think my thing at gigs is, although I deal with a lot of subject matters, I've never got any desire to preach at people or tell people what they should think.
Folk music is fascinating, that the tradition is fascinating. As my friend Hugh Lupton said, you know, people were thrown together just simply by birth. They were in that social class and they couldn't get out of it. But what that meant was you might be sitting in a pub singing your song, and on this side of you could be, you know, somebody who was smart enough to be a high flyer in Mensa, and then on this side you could have the village idiot, right? But your song has to engage them both. So it's got to have a sort of enough of a sort of a tune or whatever for this chap to be kept happy. Otherwise he's going to start fidgeting and, you know, it's not going to work. So you've got to keep this chap happy, but your song's also got to have layer after layer after layer of meaning and symbolism or edge, or, you know, and that's what the tradition gives you.
And to me, the most effective songwriting, not just songwriting, but the traditional songs are ultimately powerful, because the messages, there either is no message, or the messages are utterly conflicting. So you're left with this thing where you have to make up your own mind about exactly what any given thing means. And I love that kind of ambiguity about this kind of music, that there's lots and many levels you can take things on, and I like that amount of room.
This weedy earth we walk upon, she weathered you when we are gone. While kingdoms come and kingdoms go, rivers run and rivers flow. You know I don't believe it's true that in this world there's nothing new, for darling you have just begun. Rivers flow and rivers run, and if the river should ever run dry, somewhere the rain will still fall, will still fall from the sky.
Folk song will typically sing of love, loss, life and death, of bravery and war, of characters good and bad, and of our adventures under the watchful eye of a just God. But then there are times when the bard's retelling of events becomes the spark that lights the revolutionary fire.
When people get together, they always sing about not just how nice it is when the sun goes down, they also sing about what's affecting their lives. So when the ordinary people have got together to make up songs throughout history, they have included, for want of a better word, songs that would have been considered protest songs, because they would be protesting the fact that the evil rich have just discovered machines that can make all of them redundant.
We moan. We moan and we moan and we moan, you know, we have moaning down to a fine art.
There has always been, and there will always be, a strand of popular song that, for want of a better word, will be called protest song, because that's the nature of human beings. We get together, we celebrate, and we have a bit of a moan.
I mean, I'd love the English I'd love somebody to sort of come up with the money spinning idea. I mean, you know, given that we're all supposed to be entrepreneurs now, you know, I don't know why somebody doesn't cut off 3 or 4 bankers' heads, put them on poles and charge everyone a tenner to go and see them. They'd make millions. I'd go.
I am standing at this bus stop, I am counting fallen stars, I am working at this crap job, playing this guitar. I am wheels and wings and whatever, I am all these things and more. But no matter what the headlines tell you, I am not at war.
The great impetus of protest singing occurred at a time when the mass dissemination of songs, i.e. in records and through concerts and through television, was a new frontier, and the business hadn't got hold of it. So people were making songs and were producing songs that the business hadn't quite got its handle on controlling. And you know, Bob Dylan and Pete Seeger and all those people were making music that hey, the kids wanted to listen to.
I am one drop in this ocean, I am much the same as you. I am here for one night only, then I'm gone.
Most of my initial impact or recognition came from writing songs that dealt with contemporary events. Something I've always done, and I still do think that no cultural artifact is devoid of a political resonance. And sometimes I get a bit tired of the protest albatross. But then, blow me down, Gordon Brown goes and sends more troops to Afghanistan, and you just can't say nothing, can you? You just have to say something, because they provoke you.
I am not at war. I am not at war. I am not at war.
My name's Jim CAUSLEY and I'm the lead singer in the band MAWKIN CAUSLEY. MAWKIN CAUSLEY are a combination of the band MAWKIN, who are a 4-piece instrumental group from Essex, and myself, and they were just doing what they do, playing instrumental folk music for a while, and they kind of sold out and decided they need to get a singer.
Dad started a KU band. That's a barn dance band, you get them at weddings and stuff like that. And my dad basically started taking us to the gigs when he couldn't find us a babysitter. And then when we got old enough, James started playing in the band when he was 8, because he was good enough by the time he was 8. But it took me to about 12, 13 before I was asked to join them. And we used to go out and get paid 60, 70 quid for a gig sort of thing.
On one dark night when all was safe. I used to steward at the local arts centre in Exeter, and I got to see loads of great folk acts there for free, which is really inspiring. And then I went and started looking up songs in the library and found Baron Gould's collection, Songs of the West, or songs collected in Devon and Cornwall.
Catherine, do you think you could just take the pad out of that DI box for me? Yeah?
So we got Danny Crump, one of the founding members, the electric bass guitar and piano on our first MAWKIN album, The Fair Essex. And then we got Nick Cook, who's our replacement. He's my Odin player. He's Yevon because of being a painter and decorator. And then this is my brother James, he plays the violin. And my Odin on The Fair Essex as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
We were jamming once, James just ripping it up, and I was playing next to him. I looked over to him and then I just had this bowler up. He just goes straight in the back of my mouth and hit me in the back of the neck.
That is nasty, man.
Yeah, she just went, oh.
It's good, ain't it?
Did you stop? Yeah, I think I did that. Oh, yeah, funny enough.
Come, lads, let us be jolly, drive away down melancholy, for the grieving is a folly when we're met together. Come, let's live and well agree, always shun bad company. Why should we not merry be when we're met together now? Let union be with all its fun, we will join our hearts in one. Go through as we begun, since it is our holiday.
We are quite a weird little band. None of us, before making the band, none of us ever went to a folk club, none of us ever went to a folk festival, and none of us particularly listened to folk music.
Ladies like to sit there too, and that's with you and me when we're met together now. Let union be with...
Obviously the material we use is traditional, but there are people that would say what we do with it is far from traditional. I suppose we use, we've got a fiddle and a melodeon, so those instruments are quite, well, actually that's a stupid word anyway. What is traditional? Who decided when it began to be like that? Whatever.
So you've joined us on the train to Bexhill with the Sons of NOEL Adrian. This is Jacob Richardson. My name's Tom Cowan. I reckon. You're going to be with us for an hour.
So then, Tom, who's your favourite member of the band? And why?
If you asked me nicely, I'd be up for anything. Mainly housework.
Okay, so that's Kathy, who's a great member of the Sons of NOEL Adrian. How long have you been with us for, Kathy and the band?
I've been with you since almost the beginning, actually.
I mean, you're my longest friend.
Yep.
My best friend for over 10 years.
10 years.
So obviously I'm bored of you.
Yeah.
So
who's next in line?
I always like new members of the band, and Emma is our newest member of the band. So
yeah,
at the
Emma.
moment she's an unknown sort of quantity. So she's probably the most interesting at the moment. When did you first start playing the guitar like you do? It's a very special technique that you've got there.
When I was maybe 18, when I was 18, I think I started exploring different ways of playing the guitar and different tunings and just sort of different fingerings, stuff like that. yourself, where would you like to see the band in 10 years?
In 10 years?
Yeah, in 10 years. Do you think we'll still be together?
Yeah, I think in 10 years' time we'll have figured it all out. You know, we'll know all the right places to go tour and all the right festivals to do, and it'll just all run like clockwork. Well, I've just discovered there's this strange acoustic dome above me, which is fantastic, but it makes your voice sound really strange. I'm thinking maybe we should have played here, but we're going to be playing in the Delaware Pavilion this afternoon with the Welcome Collective. Should be a great show.
Splendid on my feet, just inside Olympia. Somebody holding to the air, never drown much water.
My father's really into music to an obscene level, and kind of educated me on what I think is decent music. But it wasn't folk music. It was strange music. The likes of Van de Graaff Generator and King Crimson and Left Side of music from those times. My earliest memory was of music. My dad sat me down and it's like, oh, here we go, here's some beers. And this first song started with a sample of lots of babies crying. And it was very strange experience. And yeah, my mother interrupted and went absolutely crazy. She went absolutely crazy. Yeah. They nearly divorced over that.
My sort of education in folk was mainly down to Bob Dylan and trying to kind of, I don't know, it was quite a natural progression. It was like a history lesson. I just sort of followed the lines.
Cock my ear under my chin, Friday dinner, fish trucks and a pull me.
And so when I started writing music and playing music, the instruments that I played were like the violin and the guitar and the mandolin.
Just a lonely radio, just a makeshift show and tell, playing out the lives of the lost and found.
This really exciting thing is you start out writing a song in your bedroom when you're 18, 17, whatever, and somehow, go to an open mic night or something, and slowly you discover people kind of thinking, or not really even thinking, just feeling the same way as you, and you just get a response. When I speak to people like friends that are doing it as well, people like Laura Marling and we all just say, well, we all feel the same way, in that we'd just like to be able to survive by doing what we really like doing. I think it's taking the compassion and the humility and the kind of friendly nature of what folk music is and folk sessions, and I guess taking the spirit of that because it's a really valuable kind of thing in humanity.
The problem with this song is I didn't used to play it on the guitar when we played it in the band. That was Matt, the other guy, is not here. So I have to start again. This is the first time I played it live. I wrote
Mumford & Sons, who are a band that we've toured with loads and are really good friends of ours, and so they might be the first big, band of that friendship group. Even if they're playing bigger shows, they're going to take the ethics with them. That's the kind of promise that we've subconsciously made,
So when I think about sex, I think of Durex and its armoured shanks when I'm taking a piss. The icons of time are Swatch and Rolex, and Captain Birdseye's the governor of fish.
For me, what's important is words. I'm never really going to start writing symphonies or.
With headlines designed to shoot down heroes, trading money for popularity, they're laughing stocks till they die young. The papers clashing on their tragedy.
If an artist wants to make a piece of work, it might be the way the light reflects off a glass, or it might be something someone's said or something someone's done that triggers some kind of reaction in your head, and so you try to find a medium to express it, and you move forward and explore that, and hopefully start creating something which represents it or expresses it, and you end up with possibly a piece of work and possibly not. And if you do, maybe you find people who might be interested in seeing it and who might be interested in connecting with it and using it to get some kind of emotional response. And then the very last thing you do is look at maybe ways to distribute it and sell it, possibly. And that's essentially what folk music is.
'Cause we're not a generation, we're just a target market. This is an advert soundtrack just for the broken-hearted.
The industry seems to start with how to distribute, how to sell, then go to find people who might buy it. Then you go to looking at mediums that are in fashion at the time, things that are selling at the time, ways of doing things. And the very last thing they get to is the truth, the love, the way the light reflected off the glass is the last thing they sprinkle on top of their product. And I fundamentally don't believe that's the way people should work. I think it's a dangerous way of working.
So send my love to the system. Send my love to the system. And playgrounds look like prisons the day after you leave school. And exes look like angels the day before they fall. You get caught up with the rose-tinted glasses on the wall, and you remember what they look like, but not what they were called, 'cause they will steal away your smile on an autumn Monday morning. They will hate you, and they will rate you, and they will punish you without warning. And you'll search for signs of goodness, and you'll search for signs of life, until you're standing on a stage, and you're blinded by the lights. And maybe I got older, and maybe I can't see, or maybe I just realised that I want to be free. So send my love to the system. Send my love to the system.
Start again.
Well, this is a song I wrote about a girl I met at a train station one time. And she was from Yorkshire. And she was travelling around, and she said to me, what castle do you recommend I go to? Dover or Bodiam? And I said, well, definitely Bodiam, because Bodiam Castle, interestingly, is where Donovan recorded his song, Song of the Naturalist's Wife, which he recorded on banjo. So that inspired me to this song. And the woman's name was Suzanne, and that's the title of this song. Oh, Suzanne, where do you go, traveling girl? Oh, Suzanne, where do you go, traveling girl?
Don't you see in my eyes, 'cause they say it loud and clear.
In my music you can probably sort of hear what you like really, but I know that probably Dylan, and it's got to be Joni Mitchell.
There's no need to disguise it, you know that I want you near.
And I did grow up with a lot of folk music, but I never really started properly listening to it till I was sort of late teens, and then got into sort of more acoustic guitar. Can't sort of try too hard to write a song, because you really should just sing what you feel, and what you feel people will know is real as well, because it's so easy to
contrive.
Yeah,
you've got to have truth. You've got to have truth, and otherwise you end up being.
Doesn't
work.
But also sort of the whole thing of folk, I always thought came from sort of like a community, and sort of the telling of stories and things, which
People's
is
music.
based around sort of what you're experiencing.
Yeah,
so
I
that's
guess,
where I think
there's a
we
common
sort
theme
of
within
come
folk
from.
music is sort of storytelling, and I suppose if a song's got a message, it's got something else to sort of read into it, really. So that's about as folk as we are.
People shuffling their feet, but they're not traveling. Can't control or keep us down, we're not following the voice of reason when there are no reasons. Come on, now it's the season to be saviors, we can't get this wrong. Hey, all you pothead hippie ravers getting down, put the beat behind some quavers and lose the frown, and sing together, pull in one direction. Come on, now it's the season to be saviors, we can't get this wrong.
I am from Swansea. I Campbell Descendants.
Yeah, I'll drop it off to him.
And it is a great place to be.
Yes.
I'm looking for Mary Shelley's grave.
You've been put over, it's gonna be better this time. Keep thinking about you, can't help it, your beautiful smile, it makes my heart leap. You're drifting around in my mind. I wanna be near you, I wanna be with you, and watch you be amazing, the best you can be. You fought for your future, you set yourself free, and I want you to know that it's you. I can't tell you how much I wanna be with you, yeah, yeah. I wanna come home with you, yeah. I wanna come home with you, yeah.
And I think for me, music's always about the next thing you want to say. Art, as a general subject, I think, is a way of expressing to the people in ways that they perhaps can't express themselves. Or people have often said, that's exactly what I was trying to say.
Get you out of my mind. Believe me, really, the feelings I'm feeling profoundly make me wonder, what the hell are you thinking of me? I seem to blunder, I'm wandering lost as I need to be amazing.
I do write stuff about, I suppose it's kind of self-centered in the sense that if it's a love song or if it's a song about myself or just an aspect of something, it's always kind of try and just look to be better, try and just be the best I can be.
I wanna come home with you, I wanna come home with you.
We're all kind of very similar as well. You travel anywhere in the world and people have this kind of thing. They're just the same there, you know, they're just different colour, different shapes, whatever, but they're really essentially the same thing.
I've seen you lately, I can't get you out of my mind. Believe me, really, the feelings I'm feeling profoundly make me want
So yeah, you know, little rural villages, towns, cities, wherever. I think there's definitely something that binds us all together, and I think that is expressed through music as well. You know, it's and art and various other things. You know, creativity.
How much I wanna be with you, yeah, yeah. I wanna come home with you, yeah, yeah. I wanna come home with you.
It's a love thing, big love thing. Kettle's boiling. Look at that.
She would reel and roll the salty's tide, driven home as the wind about, would carry me, my love, sooner than the last bell tolls. I'd be the watcher, the water, the caller, the storm. Would you weather me if my heart was strong? Forsaken all glory and for love's generous fare, let all laughter aloud, let tides draw near.
I've got my wood stove, I've got my chainsaw, and my mortgage is paid off. I've got me air gun, I'll eat pigeon instead of stroganoff. And the back garden's planted with spuds from fence to fence. Let the grand correction commence. With my foraging handbook, I'll stuff myself for free, because old fatty Ray Mears, he's got nothing on me. And I'll give you both barrels and I'll call it self-defense. Let the grand correction commence.
Folk contains a healing spell, expressed through its melodies and its drunken rants, through the effects of weathering, of erosion over time. And looking beyond that, the notion of a folk god, perhaps the green god, remembered still through the ever-morphing shape of Celtic tradition, and hiding somewhere in the west. Disconsolate god, harbouring old wounds.
But let me mould your misguided intention, and I will make it belong in a way that you never could. Your hard edges, your arrogant thrust, your modern thinking, it leaves me as hard done by as the cleaner, as sad as the dog, as downtrodden as the drunk. It leaves me down and out and a burden on your democratic twist. You leave me out of your equation, yet expect me to adorn your grand design. You design with the fire of reckless youth and build with obstinate disregard for my contribution. I become merely the foliage, the shade that you find useful but not essential. When I mop your brow, you thank your doctor, your wife, your husband and your boss, the pillars of your awkward stance. Arrogant without regard, obstinate from pride, ignorant of your origins, disrespectful of your predecessors. The quiet murmurings of the ancestor go unnoticed, while the mechanical voices of progress teach you little more than compliance.
When you analyse folk, you can't say we've got any folk roots.
We never intentionally thought of ourselves as a folk. We were kind of quite surprised at first when people started labelling us as folk. Poggy and I were very naturally interested in harmony, working harmonies out and working out different musical strands. And I think, but without realising that's a sort of a folky thing to be doing.
Oh, Henry, oh, you rise and you fall. And oh,
Hello.
My wife. And Natasha's sister, my sister-in-law.
Hello.
Poggy. This is Nicola. She's
Hello.
this goes my other wife. I've got two wives. This is Natasha. Natasha doesn't mind. She's quite open to this sort of stuff. Music is one of these things where people judge you, parents and family, and especially if you're not very good, and they say, why are you wasting your time? Why are you doing this? And if it's something you love to do and to produce, then you have to make some sacrifices to allow more time. But still providing yourselves and your family with enough to survive. Oh, this is Henry. I believe he's my son, apparently. I hope he is. He's a great lad.
Thank you.
This is Emily.
How did that just...
I feel like it's a great upbringing for them, but the way I was able to feel happy that I'm doing it is that they have a happy father. And when I was growing up, my parents, and they won't mind this if I say this, because they're getting happier now, they weren't happy. I got taught that life was a real struggle, and life's pretty shit, really. I'm not sort of saying that I'm sort of found this way that makes life really easy, but somehow enjoying the struggle. I think that's the idea, that we're sort of, by doing music or doing what you want to do, life always is going to be a bit of a struggle. Doing our music is a bit of a struggle sometimes. Basically, the whole idea behind the song is sometimes in life you can have a very bad relationship with somebody, but when they die, I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but it's how it happened for me. I suddenly had a good relationship with him in death.
Boy that you barely knew, as tall as an oaky grew. Some speech was made in death. Forgive, but you'll not forget. Oh, my days are long without you. Oh, my days so long without you. Oh, my days are long without you. Oh, my days so long without you, Father.
Children can graze safely next to a hospital where blind and deaf soldiers go crazy. But I have good views on folks like you. But I watch the pickers from my bed picking ragwalls so children graze safely.
Grant me one good day, a day free of endless commerce, a day without your pressured thumb, the chance to fix my broken hedgerow, a dawn to dusk to recoup, just one fine blossom of what I was, the flower of that one fine thought.
Well, I'm just hopefully gonna be basically playing whatever tune they're playing, and
Are you gonna play along?
Yes.
Well, good luck, mate. And we'll look out for you in the procession.
Yeah.
Looks like you've gone from sort of postmodern to a Greek pantheon.
All our gigs now are dependent on the architecture of the buildings we're playing in.
Oh no, now.
On the subject of swearing.
On the subject of swearing, I think there's far too much of it, actually.
Consumed with fear, so that I cannot see. Consumed with guilt, so that I cannot breathe. But I'll wait.
I guess if it makes you happy, and sometimes you have to go through a hell of a lot of stress and trouble before it makes you happy, but when you look back on it, like with life itself, you always remember the happy bits. So it'd be nice to remember nights like this. Do you want to come in? There you go. It's a beautiful space. Backstage.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Hi Martin. Hi Martin. Alright, our intrepid explorer. What do you think of
under the silence of a moonlit sky? Idiot,